Today I'm going to fly from Innsbruk in Austria to Dubrovnik in Croatia. So I'm inside my Navigraph subscription here, and this will show us the route. We're going to take off on runway 8 and we're going to fly the Bren 2J SID out of Innsbruck. This is a SID designed to avoid all the mountains. It ends here at Brno. We're then going to fly these airways and all these waypoints to get to Croatia, and we're going to fly the Nera 8A star when we get to the other side. So let's have a look at the overview of the route. Nera is the beginning of our star when we get to Dubrovnik. It's really just a straight line to Kolosep. We're then going to head off and fly a DME Arc, and then we're going to approach runway 29 visually from this direction. When we come out from the star at Kolosep, we are going to fly a 152 heading to link up to the 11 DME Arc from the Dubrovnik VOR. We're going to fly this arc until we get to the 142 radial, where we're going to turn inwards on a 315 heading, and then we're going to at DME 3.8 we're going to turn right onto a 339 heading, and then visually turn left onto a 294 heading and land on the runway. I'm going to program the FMC to get me to Olegu at 3,200 feet and below 180 knots. At Olegu, I'm going to switch off LNAV, and I'm going to use heading select to fly this DME Arc. The Arc is flown on the 11 DME Arc from the Dubrovnik VOR, and then at the 142 radial we'll turn inbound. At that point we will not rely on VNAV to get us down to the correct altitude. We will do that using the autopilot. And then at DME 3.8 we have to have the runway visual, otherwise we need to fly this missed approach. As long as we've got the runway in view, we can turn right on 339 and then 294 to land on the runway. So I'm at Olegu at the right height and the right speed, and I'm on a 152 heading to intersect this DME Arc. I put in 11 DME Arc around the VOR, the Dubrovnik VOR, and the idea is to intersect that 11 DME Arc and then turn left and fly at 90 degrees for 10 degrees, at another 90 degrees for 10 degrees, and so on. So if you have a look over here, when I reach the arc, I'm going to be on the 195 radial to the Dubrovnik VOR. I will turn left and I'll fly 90 degrees to that line, which is 105 degrees. As soon as I'm on that course, I'll go down another 10 degrees here, and when I get there I'll fly 90 degrees to that, which will be 95 degrees. I'll keep on going around the arc At 175 minus 90, I'll be flying a heading of 85 degrees. At 165, I'll be flying a heading of 75 degrees. I've put in a fix over here, 142 radial from there. That's the point that I've got to break the arc and turn in towards the runway. And then I'll be on a heading that is the reciprocal of this 142 radial, and that is 322. So when I get there, I'll turn my aircraft 322 to head in towards the VOR. So let's fly this DME arc. We've arrived at Oligu. I am extending the flap slowly, and we're on a 152 heading, and we're going to intersect this arc and then turn at right angles to the 195 radial. I've set the radial to 185 because that's the next time I'm going to reset my heading. So my heading over here is going to be 105, then 95, then 85, and so on. As you can see, we're at the 10.5 DME mark, and I'm slowly going to start making my turn onto a 105 heading to be at right angles to the arc. Hopefully I can get it exactly on 11, but a couple of points either way is not a train smash. Okay, so now we are exactly on 11 DME, and I'm going to fly to the next intersection. I've now put my course selector onto 175, which is the one after 185, and I'm on a heading of 195. I'm watching the DME marker to stay more or less at 11. Now I'm moving my course selector to 165, and soon I'll be moving my heading selector down to 85, and so on around the circle, keeping the DME from the Dubrovnik VOR at more or less 11 DME. You can see that I've put in a 142 radial fix to the VOR, which is the point that I need to turn inward towards the airport on a heading of 315. You can see from the map that we're flying the arc. We're going to turn in at 315, and then between DME 3.8 and 4.8 we're going to turn on a 339 heading, and as soon as the runway is visual we will turn left onto a 294 heading and land visually. We've managed to stay more or less on the 11 DME arc, and we are coming up to the 142 radial, where we need to start to make our inward turn on a heading of 315. I'm going to speed the video up a little bit until we get to that 142 radial, and then I'll show you the turn in real time. On the map there's a 127 radial shown here, which we must not go over, and you can see ahead of us why not. There are mountains above us straight ahead. You can imagine in fog you're not seeing those mountains, so that line is a do not cross line. Now that we've made the turn successfully, I've put in a circle at 3.8 DME, and by then we need to have our speed down to VREF +5 because there's no wind. We need to have flaps 30 and we need to have the gear down. So I'll put the gear down, and soon we'll be going to flaps 30, and I need to be at 2,000 feet by that arc. So the runway is visual now, which it needs to be, and we are descending at 1,000 foot per minute down to DME 3.8. I'm going to use heading select to turn on a 339 heading, and then I'm going to switch off the autopilot and do the rest manually. I'm going to speed the video up until we get to the manual part of the landing. So we're at flaps 30, gear down, speed is 148 knots, and my thrust level is at 58%. And horror of horrors, there's no PAPI lights. So if this is a bad landing, I'm going to blame it on there being no PAPI lights. Not sure why that is the case. I'm using FSX Steam.
1,000.
I doubt that a real Boeing would fly this ever. I'm sure they would just enter and approach into VNAV, LNAV, but it's been fun, and you certainly have to fly this approach in other types of aircraft. I can already see that this is going to be a bad landing, and in my next video I'll do some base training with visual landings and hopefully get it right. As predicted, not a great landing, but it's probably the thing that we all need to practice the most in Flight Simulator. Goodbye, and thank you for watching.